911, what is your emergency?
My emergency is I think my husband's been shot. My house has been burglarized. I just walked in. I'm not getting a pulse on him. I just came in from the gym.
Okay, what is the address there, ma'am?
It looks like a burglary. My God.
Now, if we want to look into a case that is similar to Darlie's, except there were not children involved, the things that are similar are things such as the 911 call being very telling, the evidence that doesn't match up, the smiling for the media or immediately after the murder, financial gain is involved here, the dolled up look. One thing that's interesting about this Rebecca Ann Fenton case out of Clearwater is that it took 6 years almost for them to get a conviction. I'm going to be going through this case. I'm trying to find the full 911 call. There's bits and pieces of it here and there, but in that 911 call, she's talking about she's more talking about how she couldn't have done it, and it's a me type of thing. I think it's very similar to Darlie's, down to the point where she said she took her husband's pulse to see if he was alive, but the blood pool around him wasn't disturbed. She said, I told him to hold on, and I called 911. I'm trying to find the full 911 call. You can find it in bits and pieces, but I'm trying to find it in full because it sounds a lot like Darlie's 911 call. So I'll read through this real quick. If you want to investigate the case yourself, take a look at it. For all of us private investigators out there. I'll show you a little bit of this, and I'll get into it further because I'm going to dig into it. I'm going to compare this to Darlie's case because it seems so interesting to me. In Largo, Florida, which I used to live in Lakeland and Largo, and Clearwater Beach is where I learned how to swim. Clearwater Beach is also the home of Hulk Hogan. Clearwater, Florida. Police always suspected Rebecca Ann Fenton killed her husband, Larry. Now, Larry was he was into surgical tools. He was a producer of that. He made pretty good money. And he was able to spoil her a little bit. They met very quickly at the gym, and 3 months after, they started talking about marriage, and a year later, they were married. Another thing that's interesting about Rebecca Ann Fenton is that for 7 years, she worked as a escort, and she's not ashamed of that. So she said she was, as far as the escorting, she was the traveling, the money, the people she met, it kept her in it for 7 years. And there's speculation that her husband didn't know about that until after they were married. That's a whole different story. Now she's headed to prison for the rest of her life. A Pinellas County jury convicted Fenton of first-degree murder. Circuit Judge Joseph Boulone immediately sentenced her to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Prosecutors told a Pinellas County jury that Fenton, now 48, was financially motivated to kill her husband. A prenuptial agreement signed when the couple married in 2004 would have limited her spousal support if the marriage would have been dissolved. But she was the beneficiary of life insurance and other benefits in the event of his death. Money, 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 money. Don't let money fool you. Fenton said she had nothing to do with the killing, but evidence eventually told a different story. On February 3rd, 2008, Fenton called 911 to report that her husband was lying in a pool of blood in the foyer of their Clearwater home at 1051 Nokomis Street. An autopsy determined that Larry Fenton, 57, had been shot in his back, arm, and neck. That means he didn't know what was coming. Fenton told Clearwater police she was working out in the detached garage of the home where they had a gym. It was a gym. And she heard something falling off the roof. When she went into the house, she said she discovered her husband's body. She also told detectives that she had checked Larry's pulse, but the pool of blood appeared undisturbed. Blood evidence is very important in any case of murder. And she did not have blood on her hands or her shoes, according to the indictment. Investigators later searched Rebecca Fenton's Hyundai Sonata, where they discovered a white plastic bag that contained the keys to Larry's Jeep, which was... The Jeep, they said it was missing, but they found it a block away. A gun case and jewelry. They also found a .38 caliber revolver he had purchased in November of 2007. This means he didn't have it very long before the murders. The revolver contained 5 spent casings, the same number of bullets that had been fired in the Fenton's home. Authorities determined that the bullets had been fired from Larry Fenton's revolver. Fenton's proclamation of innocence meant investigators would have to believe the version of events that didn't make sense, said Detective Michael Hasty, who was assigned to take a fresh look at the case in 2012. Why would an intruder, that unknown intruder, that bastard, hate that guy, target a home on Super Bowl Sunday with cars in the driveway, find Fenton's gun, shoot him, drive his Jeep a block away, return to plant the murder weapon in another car, and leave the valuables behind. Like the serrated knife. Why would somebody go into Darlie's home, take the knife, go back outside, cut the screen, come back in, put the knife away, and then pick up another knife? The Jeep was a block away. A break in the case came after Hasty contacted a former boyfriend of Rebecca Fenton's, Alfred Nolan, who testified that Fenton held a knife to his throat during a domestic dispute and said, "I'll kill you like I killed Larry." It's the totality of the entire investigation that resulted in her arrest, indictment, and conviction. She certainly is very articulate. There's footage of her immediately after the murders, and I'll see if I can find it here in a minute. But she's out talking to the police, and she's got the biggest smile on her face. She's smiling. Big time. And she says that's because a police officer told her a joke. But this is right while they hadn't even cleared his body out of the home yet. He was a successful man. She stayed at home and got pampered. You can tell she's had her lips done, which doesn't make her a murderer, but it's kind of similar to Darlie. She's always dolled up. One neighbor described her as the type of woman that when she was out in the yard, that the men in the neighborhood would come out and get their mail. It's very interesting. She had her lips done. She probably had the boob job too, but that doesn't make her a killer. It just makes it similar to Darlie. Look at me.
My husband's laying in the middle of the floor and he's not moving. I don't know if he's even alive, and the house has been ransacked.
Came back down the stairs, touched him again, tousled his head a little bit, told him, "Hold on, honey," and I ran outside and called 911.
My husband's laying in the middle of the floor and he's not moving. I don't know if he's even alive, and the house has been ransacked. Please, hurry and get here.
Rebecca sounds hysterical and desperate.
I think he's dead. I think my husband might be dead, but if you hurry, maybe he's alive and you can help.
Okay, ma'am, we have the rescue is responding right now.
The behavior panel, who also did an analysis on Darlie's 911 call and on Darlie's behavior, the way Darlie was, they determined that this woman was full of crap. They determined that they had parts of the 911 call over there too, and she starts talking about me, my house, I love him, what will I do without him, me, and that she didn't try to help him. She didn't try to help him at all. She went outside. It's eerily similar to Darlie's behavior. I'm going to find the clip where she's smiling.
We love each other. This man is my life.
I understand, ma'am.
I can't live without this man.
Okay, I understand.
He loves me and I love him. And this cannot be happening.
She is not the important one in this situation, yet she's talking about herself. Was just overwhelmingly convincing of her guilt.
It includes this local TV news video of Rebecca laughing and smiling just moments after Larry was shot dead in their Clearwater, Florida home, and her 911 call.
Tell me if he was alive and I can't.
Okay, ma'am.
There are also crime scene photographs and her own words indicating Rebecca did nothing to help save her husband when she says she found him lying bloody and motionless in the foyer of their house. Then there are official documents showing Rebecca stood to make more than $1 million in inheritance and life insurance payouts from Larry's death. Plus, the testimony of a boyfriend who says Rebecca confessed to him that she'd killed Larry. And perhaps the most incriminating of all,
If I was to identify the single biggest mistake that she made, it was this one. The gun is found in her car.
Now, more than 6 years after her husband's murder, detectives bring Rebecca to the station one last time to finally wrap up their exhaustive investigation.
Rebecca, you're under arrest for the murder of Larry Fenton.
See how similar it is? It was a weapon from the house, financial motive, which I believe Darlie's was a financial motive, but hers was the difference is that the kids were in the way, the boys were in the way, and she felt like she could save money. Darlie liked to draw attention to herself, as we can see from the graduation party that Darren had. A woman named Donna Story was actually one of Darlie's friends, who claims that Darren was getting all the attention, and Darlie wanted to go because she wasn't getting all the attention at this graduation party. So she stormed off and walked out, and she came back a half hour later and said that some man tried to R-word her. I have to watch myself because of YouTube. I'm not going to have my platform taken away over a word. But Donna Story is the lady that came up with that, literally. But I'll lead you to the best video on this. Now, just from looking at this over several hours, I haven't dug into trying to find the documents or anything yet, but several hours I looked around. The best one that I could find about this particular case is this one here, True Crime Central, the Pierce Morgan interview, the Pierce Morgan set that he has on this story. You can take a look at it there for a little bit more. Now, something that's totally opposite from this case and Darlie's case is that, Darlie's mother believes in her innocence to the point where she will try and claw your eyes out about it. But Rebecca Fenton's mother believes 100% that she did commit the crime. Fenton swears up and down that she was wrongfully convicted. She gets teary. She acts like she's crying in videos, but there's no tears that come out of her. None. I don't know why some men make claims about these criminal women. Like there's a lot of men out there, and women too, that say that Darlie's so beautiful, and I just don't see it. I don't see it here either. She looks creepy. It looks like she's gonna get lipstick all over you if she try to kiss you on the cheek. If you have to put all that shit on to make yourself look a certain way, then you're not showing your true self. I don't get it. I don't think she's attractive. You can tell she had her lips done; they look fake. I don't understand it. But I'm a man that's been with my wife for 18 years now. I've only seen her in makeup twice, and I tell her almost every day how adorable she is. She's super cute. So she's in a Florida State prison with life without parole. That's what she looks like now. Rebecca has staunchly maintained her innocence, insisting she did not kill Larry and had nothing to gain from his death, but she did. And see, that's the parts that I'm going to be digging into this case. I want to take a better look at it because it reminds me so much of Darlie's case. Now, it took them to reopen the case in 2012 to determine that she was guilty. The blood evidence was the biggest thing, I believe. The fact that the keys to the Jeep were found in her car, and the Jeep was a block away. So that means that, they would have to come back and put the gun and the keys in her car after they committed the killing. And she called 911 right away. People in the neighborhood heard the gunshots. Boom, 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 boom. And one guy said it sounded like a planned execution. This case is so similar to Darlie's that It's really intriguing to me.